freezing in here.
Oh no. That's the opposite problem outside.
Oh yeah.
So, Christian Lundgaard, you drive for Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan. David Letterman's a local hero and a personal hero of mine. How often has he been around the team?
I've actually only met him once.
Yeah?
When we did this big esport event together with the IndyCar esports over at Ball State. He showed up there, which was quite cool. It's good to meet him. It's a nice fella.
Yeah, very cool to have him back on that campus, his alma mater and mine.
Exactly.
This will be your first 500. You've had a varied career, the kind of racing career that leads to Indy. What are your hopes versus your expectations?
I would say they kind of jump in the same ballpark in the end. Obviously, you have a target that you want to reach. One thing I figured out a few days ago was that I'm actually the first Dane to ever compete in the 500.
Really?
Yeah,
First
which is
one?
pretty cool. Which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. I get to break a record
I
by
was
just showing
wondering.
up.
I was wondering that. I was like looking back at everything, and I was like, I'm not seeing any Danish flags, but surely he's not the first. I guess he will be.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. I did some research myself, and I couldn't figure out if I don't know if you know his name, Ronnie Bremer, if he ever did it because I know he did some IndyCar at some point or kart back then, but apparently he never did the 500. But just that is kind of an achievement because the last few years I've been watching the 500 because my brother watches it. And then last year, I actually woke up myself in the middle of whatever time it was back in Europe at that point to see the race. And then I don't know, a month or a month and a half later, I had a phone call, to ask if I wanted to do the test in Barber in July. So it was all just pretty crazy because last year I watched all the IndyCar races, which I've never really done before. And then suddenly a month and a half later, I have a call to ask if I want to drive. Yeah, now we're here.
What's the step then? Like, I mean, you jump from karts to this to that to Indy. I mean, is it a big step to the full-fledged Indy cars?
I wouldn't. It's difficult as an European to come over because if in Europe we see IndyCar as the American Formula One. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but that's how we see it. But then when you come over here, you drive the car. I'm not gonna lie, the car is not like an F1 because F1 isn't a spec car. It's a factory built car. But the whole organization, the whole series, it's just, if you ask me, better than F1 because it's so accessible. Everyone can come in, they can stand around the cars. It's good for the fans. And that's something I really noticed, especially when we went to St. Pete. It's the first race of the season. It's a street circuit, and there's people walking around you. You can't go to the bathroom without being stopped for I don't know 10 pictures, and you don't see that in F1. So I do I so far I'm loving every second of it over here.
Well, it's great to know. It's great to know that if that's not a standard there and it's a standard here and that you like it, that, well, I'm just very, very glad to hear that.
I mean, like as a racing driver, we like to drive the car. That's our passion. That's what we love to do. That's what we know what to do. But I feel like in Europe, it's all a bit kind of closed. It's all very compact. Where over here is a bit more free and lively. And we get to show up at a race weekend and put the car on the ground and drive. Where there's all this stuff that follows in Europe that, like it just continues. You show up at the track sometimes a Tuesday before the race weekend and, you just sit around and wait for I don't know how long. Where here, it's the preferred way for the drivers.
It's funny you mention that because I feel like, and I'm sure tastes are different with everybody, but I feel like if you're trying to focus on driving, trying to focus on the race, trying to focus on the team, you might not want the outside distractions, and maybe that's why it's designed that way. But it seems like you're okay with taking in all of it.
Absolutely. I wish I'd done the junior categories over here, to know the tracks before jumping straight into an IndyCar. The good thing about that is at least I get to do the ovals straight away, the super speedways. Because I have a friend that drives Indy Lights, another Danish driver, Christian Rasmussen, and we grew up together in karting, and haven't seen each other for a few years because he did the junior categories over here while I was still in Europe, and now we live 50 feet apart in the same building, pretty much cook food for each other every day. Um, and he wishes that the junior categories over here would do the super speedways, for example, the Freedom 100, which they did a few years ago, which they unfortunately don't do anymore. But, like he wishes that so he would be better prepared for an IndyCar seat. I mean, yes, he's done most of the tracks, but the super speedways is also where you can win the big prizes. So that is something which is also different to Europe because we don't have oval racing. So for me to jump in for the rookie test at Texas and even here at Indy, it's just like, what is this?
Hmm.
It's cool, but what is this? Like it just feels so weird just driving around in a circle and just trying to beat a speed instead of a lap time.
Well, I mean, but this won't be your first race in Indy. You did the Grand Prix in
Yeah.
August last year. What I want to know, though, is how it felt to race here for the first time. I mean, this is hallowed ground in the racing world, no matter, what you're running.
I mean, considering it was the weekend in August where NASCAR drove on Sunday, it was probably the wrong weekend to be here on, and I felt like there was more on the Sunday for the NASCAR race. But I'm pretty sure now that this is the month of May, there will be a few more people to visit this weekend than in August last year. But so far, it's just been a privilege to be here. It's amazing to see all the people showing up to see us drivers race each other. I mean, I'm sort of used to it because Formula Two races with F1 because we were the junior category for them. But no one really showed up at our time to watch our races because F1 was always later in the day. Where now I'm in the prime series, but the fans over here are crazy.
Good crazy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Christian Lundgaard, good luck, and thanks
Thank
for
you.
your time.
It's my pleasure.